So let's get started at creating the main logic for our game. And the first thing that I want to do there is to initialize our three variables here to starting values. Statute counter, statute limit, and game1. I need to set these to starting values, and I can use the default properties block to do that. So let's set the game1 variable to a starting value of false to indicate that when the player begins the game, the player has not yet completed the game. So that really just makes sense. The next thing I'm going to do is to initialize statute limit to 10, and that means the player must collect 10 statues in order to complete the game. The next thing I'm going to do is set the statute counter to 0, meaning that when we begin the game, we have not yet collected any statues. And the final variable I'm going to set is bDelayedStart equals false. This is an inherited variable. I'm going to set that to false to ensure that when we play back the game, there is no delay at the beginning. The game begins immediately. So I'm going to press Ctrl S on the keyboard to save all of these changes. And then next I'm going to code the main functionality of these variables. To do that, I'm going to create a new function, which I'm going to call statues collected. So function statute collected. This function is going to be called every time the player collects a statue. And what we are going to do is increment the statue counter, check it against the limit, and if we have exceeded or matched the limit in terms of the number of statues we have collected, we are then going to set the game1 variable to true to indicate that we have collected enough statues to win the game. So the first thing I'm going to do in the statue collected function is increment the statue counter by 1, so I can type statue counter plus equals 1, and that increments the statues counter. So if we collect one statue, statue counter is going to be set to 1. If we collect our second statue, it's going to be set to 2, and 3, and 4, and so on. The next thing I want to do is just print a message to confirm that we have collected a statue. So I'm going to use the broadcast function to print a message to the console to say, hey, you have collected a statue. So this is going to be statues collected, and I'm also going to show the number of statues that we have collected. And I can use this syntax to print the value of the statue counter. So we have here broadcast self, we're going to print the message statues collected, and then we can use this syntax here to print the value of the statue counter variable. And that is going to be incremented on this line here. Then next I want to check the value of the statue counter against the statute limit. So to do that I can type if statue counter is greater than or equal to statute limit. If we have collected the necessary number of statues, then the game1 variable is going to be set to true to indicate that we have completed the game. So I'm going to press Ctrl S on the keyboard and then compile this by choosing Run UDK Build. And here we have our window. It's compiling that code, and you'll see, ta-da, 0 errors, 0 warnings. Our code is now compiled. So let's move on.